The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council shimmered like a jewel, its walls adorned with iridescent stones that reflected the light of 100 suns. Alien dignitaries of all shapes and colors filled the space, their voices blending into a cacophony of interstellar chatter. Orion Blake stood at the entrance, feeling like a lone comet against a sea of stars. As the sole human diplomat in attendance, he couldn't shake the familiar pang of unease. He adjusted the collar of his tailored jacket, a half-hearted attempt to blend into the kaleidoscope of beings around him. An elegant Yelthian with tendrils cascading like liquid silver flicked an appraising glance his way, and Orion plastered on a smile. "Looking sharp, Earthling," she said with a knowing smirk, her melodic voice slicing through the din. "Just trying to keep up with the competition," Orion quipped, his wit a shield against the latent condescension. Today was supposed to be a momentous occasion, a chance to strengthen humanity's foothold in this sprawling galaxy. But instead, the air was thick with anticipation and the unmistakable scent of mockery. He stepped further into the hall, his heart racing, not just from the weight of the council's scrutiny but from the message he had received only hours earlier. In the midst of the chatter, a holographic projection flickered to life above the dais. It was a regal announcement from the late King Zarnok, his voice resonating through the chamber. "To my loyal subjects, I leave a legacy. My beloved daughter, Princess Solara." As the projection faded, Orion felt the weight of destiny settle on his shoulders. Solara, a name whispered with both reverence and ridicule across the stars. He had heard the tales. The king's daughter was said to be awkward and unlovely, a living testament to the universe's sense of humor. But as he stood there, the crowd erupted into laughter, their derision echoing against the hall's vaulted ceiling. Orion straightened his spine. He would not allow this mockery to go unchallenged. His fingers brushed against the communicator tucked inside his jacket, his lifeline to the council. His ticket to a galaxy filled with possibilities. He thought of Solara, the daughter he was now responsible for, and a surge of determination ignited within him. Perhaps she held more value than mere appearances suggested. With a deep breath, he stepped forward, ready to confront the council and reclaim Zalara's dignity. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," he began, his voice steady despite the laughter that threatened to drown him out. "I stand before you today, not merely as a representative of Earth, but as a defender of a legacy that goes beyond the surface." The laughter stilled, curiosity flickering across the assembly. Orion's heart raced as he continued, "Inheriting Princess Solara is an opportunity, not a burden. I invite you to see beyond your preconceived notions and to explore the true essence of her character. Let us not judge a star by its initial brightness but by the light it can one day offer." The silence hung in the air, pregnant with anticipation. Would they heed his call, or would they persist in their ridicule? As he stood there, Orion felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps the tides could turn, and a new chapter for humanity and Solara could begin. The Grand Assembly Hall buzzed with whispered speculations as Orion stood at the center, the weight of the council's stares pressing heavily upon him. He could feel the skepticism radiating from the members, their expressions a tapestry of curiosity and contempt. Today, he was not merely a representative of Earth, he was an ambassador for Princess Solara, a task that felt increasingly daunting as the laughter echoed in his ears. "Let me introduce you to my new charge," he declared, clearing his throat to command attention. With a flick of his wrist, he activated the holodisplay, which shimmered into view, revealing a striking portrait of Solara. She stood amidst a garden of luminescent flora, her unusual features framed by cascading hair that glowed like starlight. "She is more than just an inheritance, she embodies the spirit of a new alliance," he proclaimed, hoping to drown out the undercurrents of disdain. Yet, the council members exchanged glances, their eyebrows raised in disbelief. They were eager for the punchline, hungry for the punch that would reduce Solara to a mere joke. With a flourish, he gestured for her to join him. The chamber doors slid open with a graceful hiss, and in walked Solara, her presence both ethereal and unsettling. The hall fell silent, eyes glued to her, and for a moment, it felt like time had paused. Solara took a deep breath, her heart racing as she faced the sea of alien dignitaries. She had trained for this moment, but nothing could prepare her for the tide of mockery that had awaited her. Orion caught her eye, and a spark of encouragement passed between them. She lifted her chin, refusing to yield to their scrutiny. "Greetings, honored council members," Zalara began, her voice steady, though the tremor beneath hinted at her nerves. "I am Princess Zalara of the Zarnak lineage, and I stand before you not for your pity but for your respect." The crowd stirred, taken aback by her audacity. A tall, spindly Arctarian, whose antennae quivered in anticipation, leaned forward, a smirk curling on his thin lips. "Respect? For a creature born of such unfortunate aesthetics?" Laughter erupted, but Zalara held her ground. "Respect is not born from appearance, but from the strength of one's character. I may not fit your mold of beauty, but I possess the intellect and resolve to forge alliances and cultivate peace." Orion's heart swelled with pride as he watched her. The ridicule shifted slightly, intrigue began to glimmer in the eyes of a few council members. She had taken their jabs and transformed them into a weapon of her own. The Arctarian sneered but remained silent, for the room buzzed with an energy that was decidedly different from before. Zalara continued, her confidence growing. "I ask you to judge me not by my looks but by my actions. Let me prove my worth to you and to my father's legacy." As she spoke, the council's laughter dwindled into murmurs of surprise and intrigue. Orion could see the shift, a few members leaning in, captivated by Zalara's unexpected fervor. This was the moment they had all been waiting for. The revelation of a princess who was anything but ordinary. Perhaps they would come to understand that true beauty lay not in the delicate curves of one's visage but in the fire of their spirit. Orion's heart raced with hope. Together, they might defy the odds and write a new story for humanity, one where Zalara would shine brighter than any star in the galaxy. The atmosphere in the assembly hall crackled with newfound tension. Zalara's proclamation had sparked a change. The once loud laughter that had filled the air was now replaced with murmurs of curiosity and skepticism. Orion felt a surge of hope as he looked at Zalara, who stood tall, her determination casting a bright aura around her. But as the council members shifted in their seats, he sensed an undercurrent of unease lurking just beneath the surface. Before he could reflect on it, the Arctarian, whose name Orion learned was Vrax, rose again, his spindly form silhouetted against the glowing backdrop of the dais. "Very well, Princess Zalara," he sneered, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "If you wish to prove your worth, perhaps a challenge is in order. Show us what you can do, if you have any talents beyond mere bravado." Orion's heart sank. Challenges in the Galactic Council were rarely innocent games, they often concealed ulterior motives. The other members exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of excitement and malice. It was clear that Vrax had set a trap, and the audience was eager for the spectacle. "What do you propose, Vrax?" Zalara asked, her voice unwavering, though a flicker of apprehension crossed her eyes. Vrax's grin widened, revealing sharp teeth. "A demonstration of intellect and strategy. A game of galactic chess. The stakes. If you win, you earn the respect of the council. If you lose..." He let the threat linger in the air, letting it coil around them like a serpent. "You will relinquish your claim to the throne." A gasp rippled through the assembly. Orion clenched his fists, torn between concern and admiration for Zalara's bravery. She stepped forward, her gaze steady. "I accept your challenge. Vrax." The council members buzzed with excitement, the air thick with anticipation. Orion's heart raced as he watched Zalara take her seat at the center of the circular game table, her fingers dancing over the holographic chessboard. Each piece shimmered with a different hue, representing various factions of the galaxy. It was a game that required cunning, strategy, and the ability to anticipate an opponent's moves. As they began, Orion felt a knot of anxiety twist in his stomach. Vrax was known for his devious tactics, he had bested many opponents with his manipulative plays. Zalara's brow furrowed in concentration as she considered her first move. Orion leaned closer, willing her to draw strength from the crowd that now rooted for her. With each passing moment, the game unfolded like an intricate dance. Vrax advanced with confidence, launching a barrage of aggressive plays designed to throw Zalara off balance. The council watched in rapt attention, their expressions shifting as they anticipated the outcome. Zalara, however, remained calm, her focus unwavering despite the tension crackling in the air. "Why do you fight for a throne you don't deserve?" Vrax taunted, his voice low enough for only Zalara to hear. "You're an outcast among the stars." But Zalara didn't flinch. "My worth is not determined by your narrow views," she replied, her voice steady. "I will show you that even the ugly daughter can outsmart the most cunning of minds." With a swift, calculated move, she captured one of Vrax's key pieces, a bold gambit that shifted the tides of the game. Gasps filled the room as the crowd realized her strategy was more than mere bluster. A ripple of excitement surged through Orion as hope began to blossom. Could this be the moment they had all been waiting for? Would Zalara prove that beauty, and strength, came in unexpected forms? The atmosphere in the assembly hall shifted as Zalara's bold move sent shockwaves through the crowd. Gasps erupted from the onlookers, their eyes flickering between the game board and the players. Orion felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through him as he leaned forward. Anticipation igniting every nerve ending. Zalara had turned the tide, and it was a moment that could redefine everything. Vrax's confident facade cracked, his brow furrowing as he recalibrated. "A clever play, princess, but you've merely delayed the inevitable." He glared at her, eyes narrowing. "You still have much to prove." Zalara's grip on the pieces tightened, determination flickering in her gaze. "Perhaps, but I am only getting started." She moved another piece with an elegant flick of her wrist, countering Vrax's next attack while reinforcing her defenses. It was as if she had entered a different realm, one where the world around her faded, and only the chessboard existed. The council members leaned in, captivated by the unfolding drama. Conversation stilled, and the air hung thick with tension, every pair of eyes locked on the game as if it were a life-or-death battle. Vrax's veneer of confidence began to wane, and for the first time, Orion saw doubt flicker across his features. "Let's see how you fare against my next move," Vrax taunted, repositioning his pieces with a flourish, a last-ditch effort to regain control. He launched a flurry of attacks, aiming to ensnare Zalara and dismantle her strategy piece by piece, but Zalara held firm, her thoughts a whirlwind of calculation and instinct. In the game of life, one must embrace both offense and defense. She murmured to herself, focusing on the rhythm of the game. With each piece captured, her confidence surged, a fire igniting within her. The spectators shifted restlessly, their collective breaths held as the game spiraled into a captivating battle of wits. Zalara's movements were fluid, each decision laced with an intensity that mirrored her inner strength. The pieces danced across the board like warriors, each one representing the hope and future of her legacy. As Vrax made a bold move, his fingers trembling slightly, Zalara seized the opportunity. "You underestimate the power of patience and foresight," she declared, her voice strong and steady. With a swift motion, she moved her queen, a piece that had been carefully positioned for this very moment. Checkmate. A shocked silence engulfed the room as the implications of her victory settled in. Vrax stared at the board in disbelief, his mouth slightly agape. The council erupted into a cacophony of murmurs, voices blending into an astonished chorus. The Arcturian's gambit had failed, and Zalara had claimed an unexpected victory. Orion's heart soared. This was more than just a game, it was a statement, a declaration that she was not merely the king's daughter but a formidable force in her own right. The council members exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from derision to reluctant admiration. Zalara had not only won the game but had also begun to win their respect. As the applause erupted, Zalara looked at Orion, her eyes sparkling with triumph. In that moment, he saw the weight of her inheritance transform into a beacon of hope, illuminating a path forward for humanity. She had shown the galaxy that true strength lies in courage, intellect, and the unwavering spirit to rise against adversity. Together, they could rewrite their fates, and perhaps, just perhaps, redefine beauty in a galaxy that often overlooked it. The cheers echoed through the assembly hall, a cascade of applause and admiration washing over Zalara like a warm tide. Yet beneath the surface of triumph, a storm brewed. As she soaked in the unexpected respect from the council, a flicker of concern crept into Orion's mind. Vrax might have been defeated, but he was not the only one who harbored disdain for a human princess inheriting the Zarnak legacy. The cacophony gradually subsided, and as the council members returned to their seats, a new figure emerged, a stout, silver-skinned diplomat named Creel. He had remained quiet during the game but now stepped forward, his eyes glinting with a mix of curiosity and malice. "Impressive, Princess," Creel said, his voice smooth yet condescending. "But victory in a mere game of strategy does not equate to ruling a kingdom. The galaxy is not won by clever moves on a board. It is forged through blood, alliances, and sometimes, outright ruthlessness." A hush fell over the hall as Creel's words settled like a thick fog. Zalara straightened, her expression unwavering. "And how do you propose I prove myself, Creel? By allowing your kind to belittle and undermine my worth? I am more than a pawn to be sacrificed for your amusement." The tension in the room grew palpable as Creel smirked, revealing sharp teeth. "You may think yourself a queen, but the reality of your situation is far grimmer. There are forces at play that you cannot even begin to comprehend. You are but a child playing at power, while the real game unfolds in the shadows." Zalara's pulse quickened, but she held her ground. "I may not have your experience, but I do possess the spirit of a leader willing to confront challenges. I refuse to be intimidated by mere threats." Orion felt the undercurrents of dread rising within him. He had seen the way power dynamics shifted in the council, and Creel's insinuations were not without merit. As the assembly erupted into a low hum of conversation, he knew they had to act quickly. The council would not let this victory rest lightly, especially with such an audacious challenge thrown down. "We must unite," he whispered to Zalara, leaning closer so only she could hear. "Creel is not just a voice, he represents a faction that could rally others against us. We need allies, and we need them now." Zalara nodded, her expression serious. "Then we will seek out those who might stand with us. There must be others who value merit over lineage. Those who will not be swayed by Creel's games." Before she could formulate a plan, Creel interrupted again, his voice a cold slice of reality. "You may find some support, but know this, trust is a rare currency in the council. Those who dare align themselves with you will find themselves on the wrong side of history." A shiver ran down Orion's spine. Creel's words hung heavy in the air, the threat palpable. Zalara's brow furrowed, the weight of their situation settling upon her shoulders. Yet, as she stood there, he could see the fire within her. "We will not bow to fear," she declared, her voice resonating through the hall. "I will forge my path and create alliances that will not just uphold my title but also reshape our futures." The assembly erupted once more, but this time the applause was tinged with uncertainty. Creel's words had stirred a pot that would not settle easily. Orion exchanged a glance with Zalara, and in that moment, they both understood, the battle was far from over. The shadows of doubt loomed large, but together, they would shine a light bright enough to chase them away. The days following Zalara's unexpected victory felt like walking a tightrope stretched high above the churning abyss of political intrigue. The assembly hall buzzed with speculation and whispers. Each council member, once indifferent to Zalara, now seemed keenly aware of her presence, their eyes calculating in their agendas hidden beneath layers of politeness. But the real challenge loomed ahead, building an alliance amidst the distrust. Zalara and Orion had decided to convene with potential allies, those who might be swayed by the promise of change and merit over tradition. As they walked through the vast corridors of the council chamber, Zalara's footsteps echoed with purpose, her resolve unyielding. Orion could see the tension in her shoulders but also the flicker of determination in her eyes. "Who should we approach first?" Orion asked, glancing at a map of the chamber's political factions displayed on a holoscreen. Several names stood out, each accompanied by the insignias of their respective factions. Kara from the Varnak coalition has always been an advocate for diversity in leadership. Zalara replied, her finger hovering over the shimmering icon. She's pragmatic and fiercely independent. If anyone understands the necessity of change, it's her. Orion nodded. And what of Creel's faction? They won't take kindly to us trying to undermine their influence. They will retaliate, but we cannot let that deter us. We must be bold if we want to reclaim our narrative, Zalara said, her voice firm. They found Kara in a secluded garden filled with luminescent flora, a stark contrast to the sterile corridors of the council. The air was thick with the sweet scent of blossoms, and as they approached, they spotted her, a tall figure with deep violet skin and eyes that sparkled like stars. Seemingly at peace among the greenery, Princess Zalara, Kara greeted them, her voice melodic yet commanding. I heard of your game with Vrax. You have stirred the waters of the council, and many are curious. Curiosity can be dangerous, Zalara replied, a hint of caution in her tone. I am here to forge alliances. I need your support against those who would see my claims stripped away. Kara studied Zalara for a long moment, her expression unreadable. You wish to change the very fabric of the council. Such ambitions are not taken lightly, especially when many are still laughing at your lineage. Zalara took a deep breath, her heart racing. I do not seek to erase the past but to redefine it. Together, we can create a council that values merit and collaboration over bloodlines. The galaxy is evolving, and we must evolve with it. Kara's gaze softened, and a small smile danced across her lips. You speak like a leader, not just a pawn. But alliances come with risks. You must understand that my support will provoke Creel and his followers. I welcome the challenge, Zalara asserted, her eyes gleaming with determination. If we stand together, we can shift the tides. We need the voices of those who believe in progress. As Kara considered her words, a sudden rustle echoed through the garden, and they turned to see Creel lurking at the edge of the clearing, his expression twisted with disdain. How quaint, he mocked, stepping forward. The outcast princess seeks the favor of those who should know better. Your naivety will be your downfall, Zalara. Your attempts to intimidate will not work on me, Creel, Zalara retorted, her chin lifted defiantly. I am no longer afraid of your shadow. Creel's lips curled into a cruel smile. You'll soon learn that shadows can be more powerful than light. Watch your step, princess. The council does not take kindly to threats against its power structure. With that, he turned and strode away, leaving the air thick with tension. Zalara's heart raced, but as she met Kara's gaze, she felt an unwavering bond form between them, a shared commitment to forge ahead despite the looming darkness. Let's begin this alliance, Kara said, her voice steady. Together, we will show Creel and the council that true leadership comes from unity and vision. As they clasped hands, Zalara felt a surge of hope, the promise of a future built not just on lineage but on courage, wisdom, and the relentless pursuit of a brighter tomorrow. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but now, she was not alone. Together, they would illuminate the shadows and reclaim their destinies.